Welcome in, everyone. Sorry we are running late. We had some technical difficulties in the background and was trying to get it figured out. Ignacio is still trying to figure his technical issue out. We couldn't hear him. He's trying to get that fixed. That's why my co-host isn't here. And we do have two special guests. Scott from Truck Tech Innovation that created LANEMetrics, and we're giving a live demo tonight. And oh, my co-host just popped back in. Let's see if this is going to work.
Can you hear me now or no?
Yep, there you go. We
I have
got
to restart
all
my
of
phone.
we got all of the technical difficulties figured out. Good deal.
Oh, good.
So I'm at the point of where I'm going to bring Scott up, and we actually do have two special guests tonight. We got Scott from Truck Innovation Software, and then Die Hard Deals, Mitchell Ricegraft, that is a very good advocate of the industry and one of my biggest supporters. I'm a big supporter of him. He's going to help us, go over some of this LANEMetrics as well. So let's bring Scott up first and let him introduce himself. Welcome in, Scott.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
How you doing?
Yeah,
Scott?
not a problem. You want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah.
Give it a little bit of a background.
I'm Scott Armstrong and co-founder of Truck Tech Innovations, and was a driver for about 30 years before I started sitting behind a desk. Done just about everything in the industry you can think of, and gives me a lot of background knowledge on what we really need in the industry, what's been needed, and things that have been missed from the beginning. And we already have one app that's been out for about a year and a half, almost 2 years. That's called FUeL 2.0. And for anybody that doesn't know, that helps you with being able to subtract IFTA costs from your fuel. Like when you're shopping for fuel and you're looking at fuel costs in more than one state, if you're looking across a state line and you see a fuel price that looks like it's 20 or 30 cents a gallon cheaper or what have you, it may be cheaper, or it may be the same, or it may not be cheaper at all. It may actually be more. The only way you ever know that is to subtract the IFTA tax from both prices in both states. And that's the only way you can compare apples to apples. And that's called your raw fuel. And that's the price that you need to shop for fuel by. Wherever the raw fuel price is cheaper, that's where you get it. Because you're going to pay the same in IFTA regardless. It's based on how much fuel you burn in every state. And if you buy it where the tax is higher and you burn it where the tax is lower, you may get a little bit of a rebate. If you buy it where it's cheaper and you burn it where it's higher, then you're probably going to pay more in at the end of the quarter. But either way, you're going to pay the same, whether you're getting a refund. If you get a refund or a rebate, all that is they're saying, well, for the last quarter, you paid in too much at the pump, so we're going to give you part of that back because we didn't need it. You didn't actually spend it. You paid for it. You didn't spend it. Here it is. So a lot of people have a misconception about that. They think if they can work it where they always get a refund every quarter, that they're winning. But that has nothing to do with it. It's where that raw fuel price is cheapest is where you save money. And so we've had that app out for about a year and a half. And we've been working on LANEMetrics for about 3.5 years, honestly, through research and development, testing phases. And it came out about 2 days before Matt's truck show in Louisville at the end of March. So it hasn't been out very long, and we haven't done any real marketing with it or anything yet. We're just getting started on that phase. And I appreciate you guys having me on because this one is something that's been desperately needed for a long, long time. And it has to do with how you actually rate lanes. And the problem that comes in is there are a lot of calculators out there that'll give you a rough estimate on a cost per mile or a rate per mile, but it's not dynamic. It's not flexible. They'll just say, you need to be at 250 a mile. But the problem with that is there's a whole lot of other factors and variables that go into a rate. You have hidden costs, you have tolls, you have weight distance taxes, the time, the transit time on the load is a big variable because that affects everything. And this is the only app in the world that actually takes every possible factor into consideration. And another thing about this app that makes it very unique, we're the only ones that actually reverse engineer what you need to gross based on what you tell us you want to net. So it's a reverse engineering mechanism where you say, I want to net, say, $70,000 this year as my own driver for my own pay. My company, I want to see my company net 10, 20, 15, whatever percent off of the gross as a net from the company that I own, not your lease to, but for you, your company. And we take those factors and reverse engineer everything else, including your self-employment tax, your federal tax, and state tax on top of those. And we come up with what your gross revenue needs to be for the entire year so that when every possible expense, including taxes, are all paid, you end up with what you wanted to net. So it's not a deal where you run thinking you're making money all year and then you file your taxes and pay it and you ended up making way less than what you thought or wanted. This actually prevents that. And it looks forward instead of in reverse. All these other tools that are for financial calculations as far as filing taxes like QuickBooks and all these other softwares, they all are retrospective. They take all your expenses that you had for the year, and then they figure out what you owe in taxes, and then you find out what you have left. But that doesn't help you when you're with a broker or a shipper, and they call you and say, hey, I need a rate on this lane. What would you charge? You got to know right then what to charge. I mean, you don't have time, unless it's a lane you run all the time and you already know the tolls and all the other hidden costs on it. You don't have time to take an hour to go research through all that and find all that and then try to figure it. It's just impossible. There's way too much. That's why in our webpage, we even show you, we tell you it's 196,000 calculations in less than 2 seconds. And there's no way anybody can do that in their head or with a calculator. It's impossible. It's humanly impossible. So we're doing a lot of things that's never been done.
Right. So, and before I bring up Die Hard Deals, Mitchell, I want to actually say that I have used the Raw Fuel 2.0, have looked into the LANEMetrics, and the LANEMetrics to me is more comparable to how DAT, Truck Stop, Sonar come up with their lane rates. But this goes so much deeper to where it benefits the owner operator to know his operational cost.
Exactly. And it's 100% dynamic and it adapts to any kind of operation. Anybody from a hotshot to a box truck, reefer, dry van, flatbed, whatever you have, it'll work because it asks you enough questions when you're onboarding with it that it knows everything about what you're doing as an operation. All the variables, all the numbers that matter in those calculations are taken into consideration. So, before now, the only ones that had this type of software or this type of technology and ability were the mega carriers and the brokers, because for one, they have historical data to pull from to know, and then they have their own in-house software that does these types of things. Because most of the commercial TMSs that you can buy, they don't even do what we do. And even then, for the mega carriers or a larger fleet to buy any of this commercial TMS software, it's thousands of dollars per month That's not in reach for a 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 truck operation. So the little guy has always been left out. They never had a tool to even the playing field. And that was our entire goal. Even the playing field where everybody would know what they needed
Gets
to
a
be.
piece of the pie.
Exactly. Because when this calculates a rate, what it comes back with, it uses your target rate as a minimum starting point. It'll tell you this is what you need to be charging, and that's the starting point. Now, it does not take into consideration markets. You still have to know enough about what you're doing to take that minimum rate and say, okay, well, this is going to Florida in a dry van. That's my minimum rate, but I've got to have way more than that, or I'm not coming out of there. So you have to take that still into consideration. But this is basically like a firewall. It's a stopgap to help keep you from screwing up and taking lanes for rates that end up costing you money. The last thing you ever want to be doing is not hitting your goals for the year, or end up in worst case with a loss and it actually cost you money to move the load. You paid them to move it. That ain't working. That's why you see so many go out of business within the first year or two, is because this is such a complex thing. And unless you've been in it for a long, long time and you don't understand how all this works, you'll be taken advantage of and you'll get burned.
Yeah, I've talked to so many owner operators that think they, right now, even with the way fuel cost is right now, they still think they can run at $1.80, $2 a mile on any type of freight. Doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah,
That's considering dry van, reefer, flatbed, any generalized freight. Now, specialized, they're a little bit higher on their operational costs just because it is specialized, right? So that takes a factor into it as well. But even with LANEMetrics, you can even still figure that out.
Yeah, there's ways
because you set those diameters.
Yeah.
But Ignacio, you got something to say before we bring Mitch in and get the live demo going?
Yeah, for example, you can give us a rough estimate. I would book loads myself. I've been a dispatcher for my own self, or kind of prospect for backhaul right from the spot market. Sometimes you're on the phone, right, and a lot of the times you don't have a lot of time to come up with a price for a rate that you would be willing to offer. So that's where experience comes in, right? I've been in the game 37 years. So I already know from the top of my head more or less what's profitable, what's not, what's trash, what's gold, just due to experience. But even for myself, right, because I can be honest and say, look, listen, I've never considered the IFTA. I never consider the other expenses that are not immediately related to the load, right? We just probably focus on the driver, the fuel, the maintenance, and then consider the backhaul, right? Because a lot of times if you end up in a dead zone, you want to make sure you maximize your profit, because you're gonna probably take a loss coming back, or if not, coming back empty. Now, how fast it is your system to give me a number, a set number, whether it is a net or a gross number that you're talking about, while I'm on the phone and I have the broker probably with another 10 calls besides mine. How fast can this number come up?
Well, you have a rate of lane page that you go through, and it flows just like you would talk to a broker on the phone. You already know where your truck's at. You plug in a zip code or whatever for the current location. You can use either a zip code, a physical address, or a city state, and it'll pull that up. You can do that for any of the locations. And it flows just like you would ask the questions to a broker. As you ask them and they tell you, you plug it in. As soon as you have your questions answered, you hit calculate, and it takes about 1.6 to 2, between 1.6 seconds and 2 seconds, and you got your answer. It's running 196,000 calculations in less than 2 seconds.
Great. I believe that there's so many versions And most of the time, we all old schoolers usually have a mental number up there, right? Or sometimes we have a piece of paper to kind of calculate really quick. But if you've been in the industry for so long, you already more or less know based on experience. But that can also be deceiving, right? It's like Chris is saying, you've been, for example, for forever, we thought $2 per mile was a decent number. For years, we had this thing, but due to fuel costs, uh, in my experience or my mental calculations before, when the fuel cost was roughly 3%, but with the fuel cost now, it might be maybe 50% of your cost, because it increased maybe to the double the regular price that we had. So now those numbers are moving tremendously. So maybe this application here, it's a good maybe a tool to have for us to really move in the industry, right? Because if we're used to thinking, okay, $2 was the norm to still remain maybe profitable, now with this economy or with this major changes that pop up, for example, this one time with the fuel, we might be fooling ourselves, right? If we thinking, oh yeah, we can still do business for $2 per mile. So I believe this is where this tool can be a help, right? To even us old school owner operators can even learn to adjust with the economy or with the market, right? So I think that might be a help with people like myself.
And this updates with the EIA every Tuesday when they release their new national average fuel rate. This app automatically updates the numbers. And when you get to the bottom of the rate of lane page, we're going to showing you what that week's national average for fuel is. And then you can judge by from there if you want to charge based on a national average, or say you usually get about 30 cents a gallon discount off of whatever the national average is. Then there's an option where you can plug in your own fuel rate, and it'll override the national average. You leave it blank and it uses the national average. So that helps you a lot.
Yeah, and you know what, Scott? Thank you for coming up with such a thing. You know where I really, really believe that this is a great tool? I would really recommend this tool for drivers that want to become owner operators or even investors, right? Before you go ahead and take a loan, a credit line from your home, or refinance your home to start a business, before you even gamble, invest in a tool like this to see if it's even possible for you to be profitable, right? Because right now we have a very challenging market. So instead of investing in gambling on getting a credit line from your home, or refinancing your home, or getting a loan with a percentage, why don't you get a tool like this that's going to be something that's going to help you calculate if you're even going to be profitable in the market, or in that one particular lane, or maybe an offer from a shipper that you have close by. So by having this device here, this tool here, it might even help you to consider whether you want to go into the business or not, right? I wish a lot of this new owner operators wish they knew what they were doing, because if you're not coming into the market to help the industry, you only harming it. So this is actually a very good way for you to educate you and get realistic numbers, rather than to hear from your cousin, from your neighbor, or read it on TikTok, whether you're profitable or not. This is actually real numbers, real life, real market. So I believe this is a very inexpensive way for you to put your numbers out and determine whether it is worth the risk or not. So thank you for that, Scott.
You're welcome. Yes, sir. And you hit the nail on the head. It's the new guys that run off in this, not really understanding business and how all the finances work. And they take somebody's word for it that don't really know, or they watch some video somewhere that, oh, this is easy. It's great. I'll make $1 million. And then they go off in this blindly thinking they're going to get rich overnight. and then they don't even know what a good rate is, and then they're out here pulling for $1, $1.50 a mile, and losing money, and they don't even realize it, not right away. So that's partly why rates have dropped so much. I know it's all about supply and
Yep.
demand as well, but
Well, not only that. So let me add in there real quick, because I know a lot of guys that just go by the market rate that DAT, truck stop, sonar even put out there.
right. Yeah, that market
Now,
rate
why
means
would you want to use those guys' numbers? This is always my question. Why would you want to use those corporation numbers? Because the corporations are working together. They affiliate with one another. They collaborate with one another. You don't think they're colluding together?
well, the thing of it is that
I'm not
market
saying
rate,
they are, but you got to think about that.
the market rates might be the market rates, but that's irrelevant to your operation. If the market rate is $2 a mile and
Exactly.
you're at $2.50 a mile to make a profit and stay in business, I don't care if you're paying everybody else $2 a mile. You're going to have to pay me $2.50, or I'm not going to pull it. And that's where this comes in. You have the clarity up front before you ever say yes to know exactly where you're at.
Now, I've always
Now-
pushed, you need to know your numbers. You need to know your actual operating cost. Now, once you have your actual operational cost, you need to add a 10% profit margin into that just to be able to sustain.
Well, and here's the thing
I've
about
always
that.
pushed that.
Even your operational cost, it's fixed over a year's time, but it's not fixed for a load, because no load takes exactly the same time. If every load,
And that's where this application actually takes it to the next level.
You know, if every load took exactly 24 hours to complete from pickup to delivery and you're done, then you could take your operational cost, divide it by 365 days a year, or however many days you were going to be on the road, and say, okay, this is my operational cost per day, and this applies to each load because each load is 1 day. But that's not the case. Every load has a time factor in it, and they're all different. And that's where this is different as well, as it takes the time factor into the consideration and calculates two ways. We calculate a flat rate per mile, the old way, and then we calculate a time-based rate, depending on how long the load takes. And then we look at the two, and we say, which one has the best profit per hour over the entire transit? Whichever one has the best profit per hour over the entire transit time, we set that as your winning target goal. Then that's used again to measure against your offered rate to show you where your offered rate that you're working with is measuring up.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. One of the other things that I saw when I was looking at your features, your parameters, we got to remember, me mentally, what I've noticed is there's 3 levels of investment, right? Or even maybe carriers or companies. We have investors, right? For example, I have a brother that has 10 trucks, not a driver. He's going to have to pay driver costs, because if he's not driving a truck, he's just waiting to get a profit for him investing and running this company. So that's an extra cost, right? Versus an owner operator that has their own loads, drive their own truck, and run the business. So there is a saving in that level, right? Because you don't have to pay an extra investor. You might just determine your money on the investment yourself. But it doesn't have to be to the extent of somebody being the independent or as an investor per se, right? And then we also have another level of carriers, a carrier that still is paying for the trailer, the tractor, versus somebody that is already running with an equipment that is paid off. So these numbers can easily move depending on your conditions, right? And your monthly bills, right? So this is why it's not one size fit all. This is why it's important for you to have something for yourself, something that is going to tell you exactly what you need to earn, according to your own bills. You cannot run a profit number versus the neighbor's expenses. So this is why you cannot have one size fit all. This is just especially for you, for your own numbers, so you do not have to be deceived and maybe get into trouble down the line. So I wanted to mention that because that is very important to understand.
Yeah. And honestly, what this basically is, when you download this and you set up all your baseline numbers, what we've done is given you enterprise level software that's on the same level, or probably actually better than most mega carriers are using. And the bigger carriers that are just using a basic TMS, you're already ahead of them. And it's completely customized. It's like you went to a software developer and said, hey, build this exactly for me and me alone. That's what you've got. It's all yours. Nothing in it is assumed. Nothing is static. Every single part of it is dynamic, and it's yours. It's
Absolutely.
So let's get to Mitchell.
So, yeah.
Let's let Mitchell introduce himself so we could get to the live demo.
All right. Hey guys.
Sorry,
glad
Mitchell.
to be here. No, it's all good. It's all good. We're all getting to know each other and letting Scott explain, and we're having, questions answered that are very important, because this is just it. And, kind of to segue off of what Scott was saying there, all the biggest competition, the brokers, the mega carriers, the shippers, they're all using data, like this, or, we might, with LANEMetrics now, we might be able to have a comprehensive edge, but they're using all this data and analytics sitting there in their offices against the small carriers and owner operators. And you're sitting there still trying to work off of a spreadsheet. You're not going to be able to compete with that. That's where this software here coming across this was one of the most exciting things as an advocate for the industry, and having the family history that I do of seeing my dad just got killed out there because he was trying to work off of spreadsheets. Now that was back before all these apps and things got so fancy. But, if you don't know your numbers, or you think you know your numbers, but you're working off of antiquated information, or you don't have a way to have better updates, you're just shooting yourself in the foot, chasing the dollar, and you can never catch the dang thing. At least with this, it gives you a chance. It turns the tables. And when we turn the tables and we have the data working for us because of what Scott's created at LANEMetrics, I mean, this is working off of PC Miller data. That's the most empirical information you can pretty much get when it comes to freight. So now we've got the tools, just like they've got the tools sitting in their offices to defeat us. Now we've got a fighting chance. And the best part about it, Scott, that I love is this isn't AI.
Nothing about this app has AI into it.
There's no
Correct,
AI,
Scott?
So your information is completely private.
Yeah, no, there's no AI whatsoever. This is all just extremely sophisticated mathematical algorithms. There's no AI at all. And I'll tell you something about that. When we first looked into this and we started talking to a few other software companies about possibly developing this, I asked one time, I said, I'm not going to tell you who they were, but I asked them, I said, why has there never been anybody create something like this before? And they said, because there's not enough money in it. I said, what do you mean? They said, well, all these big TMS systems and all that stuff, they're not worried about 1 or 2 or 10 truck operation. They build stuff at a level where they can target the ones that's got 1,500 or 3,000 freaking trucks, where they can charge them thousands and thousands of dollars a month. That's what they're after. They're not worried about the little guy. I said, well, I am, because I'm one of them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let me ask you, Scott, how long did it take you guys to come up with such a great tool?
From the inception of it, we started with on the drawing board, and it took approximately 3.5 years.
Wow.
Sounds like
That's a
a
lot of
major
man hours.
project. Yeah.
Unimaginable amount of work.
And how much
There-
are you charging for a subscription on this again?
Well, if you added up the man hours, I had at one point just to see, and we were already well over 6,000 man hours in this. And in the software
Wow.
world in the United States, software developers charge anywhere from $150 an hour up to $300 an hour. So you can do the math.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Amen.
No, what
Good
are you
night.
charging for a? What are you charging for a subscription fee to this
Oh,
app? To your
That
app?
is $19.99 a month, or if you wanted to buy it for a whole year, you're basically getting 2 months free. It's $199.99 for a year.
And you get a
So can it be
2-week free
bought by
trial.
the month?
Yeah, it comes with a 14-day free trial. You can actually go in and onboard and set up your numbers and play around with it, and you don't even have to do any subscription at all. And we set it up that way on purpose for just like what Ignacio was saying a few minutes ago. Anybody that's just thinking about getting into the business, they can download the app, they can set up their numbers, research it, know what all it's going to cost you. You can plug your numbers in it, and you can see right then where you're really going to be, what you got to have a mile to make what you think you need to make in profit. Is it achievable? Is it unrealistic? Whatever. It's all right there, and you don't even have to sign up for the free trial yet. The free trial will activate once you come back in the next time and visit the app. The paywall will pop up, and you select then that you want to try a subscription, and that's when your free trial for 14 days starts.
Wow.
So we try to make this as accessible as we could.
So let's go over the setup of the app, because there's a lot of different variables that got to go in. You got to set up a profile and the really important stuff. So talk a little bit about with us on that.
Sure. Well, when you first go into the app, the first page you're going to see will be the vehicle specs page, because we have an onboarding sequence, and the rate of lane page will not work unless it has the baseline numbers to work from. So we start you out with a vehicle spec page, and that's just basic information asking you about your vehicle. And one thing here interesting to note, you can select your toll transponder, and we have about 40 or 42, I think. I can't remember.
Wow.
But it's a bunch. You have all your most popular ones. You have SunPass, Toll Tag, Texas Tag. You even have the River Link for the bridge over I-65 in Louisville. It's on there. Pike Pass, Beach Pass. I mean, you got them all.
Mm-hmm.
Easy Tag, Easy Pass, you name it. It's there.
Yep.
Even a few of them from
So
Canada.
I got a quick question. I got a quick question. So when you're setting up your account and it asks you where are you based out of, what state, so it's actually calculating by your IFTA state, correct?
Well, what state you're based in, you're talking about here on the next page, which is your baseline numbers. The reason we're asking you for the state is because we're calculating your state taxes. So it depends on what state you live in. Some states don't even have a state tax. Every state handles state taxes a little differently, and we account for all of the different tax laws and rules and how it's calculated and all of that.
So can we put in there, because I'm going to give you some load numbers. The load is going to come from California, but I'm an Iowa resident. So can we put Iowa in there and see?
Sure.
Okay, just so that way it's got Iowa tax put in there.
And anytime you change a number, it's going to ask you to confirm it, and it'll let you know that it did. I'm married, filing jointly, I assume.
Yeah.
Okay. And just to show you, we have 3. You can do single, married, filing jointly, or
you can do married, filing jointly. It's fine.
Yep. And then let's see. There's a lot to this. It seems overwhelming at first, but honestly, most of these numbers are very basic. And if you know your numbers at all, it won't take you very long at all to fill this out. It's not that hard to do. But you can see here at the top where we're talking about driver net pay of 70,000. That's your net pay. That's not before taxes. That's after taxes. You tell us what you want to put in your pocket after everything, and that's what we go by. And then the same for down here, you'll see we're doing days on the road. And the days on the road is very important that you get that accurate in your miles, your percentage.
Yeah, it's probably about right. I'd say about probably 290.
Okay. Well, we can change that.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make it more real life example for this. Yeah, I don't want any more than 10% empty miles. That's for dang sure.
Yep. Fuel mile per gallon is about 6.85. And
okay. I typically run a Volvo that gets about 7.5.
Okay. We can change that.
Okay.
And then whatever you think for paid parking and showers, if anything.
Yeah, I mean we can leave it at that. I doubt I pay that much because I'm pretty parking savvy and I'm pretty good with my shower points. So
right.
I mean we can leave it there, but honestly you could almost bring that down to 500 a year. I'm pretty savvy.
We'll do that. 500 it is. Okay. Then routine maintenance interval and what it costs you per interval.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can leave it right there. Right there is fine.
Okay. And then however many truck washes you might get for the year. And that's not washouts, like trailer washouts. That's actually like going through Blue Beacon, you know.
Yeah, probably like about 15 washes a year.
And that would actually be for the outside of the truck, outside of the trailer, just to look nice, presentable.
Yep. Yeah, about 15 washes a year, I would say.
Professional.
And that price point's about right, $150.
15 of them. There you go.
Okay.
Then you got your steer tires, how long they figure they're going to last, what they are a piece to replace.
Yeah, we can leave it. We can leave it there.
And it's the same questions for your drives. And we do ask you how many drive tires you have, and same for your trailer.
Mm-hmm.
How many you have.
Yeah, we can leave those alone. It sounds about right. You mean maybe a little bit more, but we can leave it alone.
And then we have for when you're parked, how you're idling. Are you idling your tractor engine?
APU.
Diesel APU?
Yep.
Okay. And then 2290, that's about 550.
Yep.
Base weight, probably 2200, just an estimate. UCR, probably 50. All your insurances for the year, we've got about 15.7 because that's kind of the average for people that have been in it a little while. I do know a lot of brand new ones, or I've heard that we're saying it's 20 and 25,000 a year, but whatever you think you want to use there.
And just to be transparent, Die Hard Deals is most of the time he's a company driver that usually does a 1099 subcontract. Myself, I'm a company driver again. Yeah.
Right.
I'm back as a company driver because of issues with my truck. Trying to get that worked out so I could get my authority started back up.
Mm-hmm.
But just to be transparent, we're not trying to hide anything. We're not.
Yeah, I'm a company driver, but this is why I really like this tool, because this could be a huge deciding difference in helping me build a strategy if I, am able to become an owner operator, provided we can get the whole AI and autonomous truck thing to slow down. Otherwise, there ain't going to be a future left. But maybe this will change some things. Who knows? Anyway.
Yeah.
But I am trying to become an owner operator. Like I said, I was raised by an owner operator, and I've seen him make all the mistakes. And this will definitely, help me avoid those mistakes.
Yeah. And then we have your weight distance accounts. Any states you have a permanent account, you check those, and everybody should.
I'm not sure on that one.
Yeah, KY. Well, the only difference in this is, well, for one, Connecticut, you have to have a permanent account. You can't get a temporary in Connecticut.
Yeah. I don't
So
do
you got-
And
Northeast.
if
I
you're
don't do
going to be
Northeast at
over
all.
road, if you're going to be going over the road, you're going to want that yearly Kentucky permit.
Kentucky for sure.
It saves you a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't run out west and you don't run up in the northeast, then you stay mainly in the central U.S. The KYU is probably the only one you really ever need. But we rate a lane. We look at whether you have a permanent or you need a temporary permit, and we rate those taxes based on which you need. So you're getting an accurate cost,
So
as if you had to go buy a temporary permit to go through New Mexico or Oregon or whatever.
So someone like me, right? Because when I had my authority, I was going coast to coast, right? Because that's what I love to do. I love traveling, seeing the sights, seeing different areas, right? So I always had the yearly Kentucky permit, the yearly New Mexico permit. That way I didn't have to worry about it while I was, booking loads or anything. And not only that, it saves you so much. It's $13. I was at the time I was paying $13 for the Kentucky for a whole year, and then plus whatever miles I did in Kentucky if I did any. Right? And then with New Mexico, it was $10 for one truck. Okay. And with me being out of Idaho and going coast to coast, I was doing more miles in New Mexico than I ever thought I would do. With Kentucky, hardly ever. But it still saved me a lot because you get a discount when you do the yearly permit as well. Because I even looked into trip permits, and when you calculate it by the mile, because I've done it, I've actually done the addition to where if I didn't have that yearly permit, I would have paid an extra $50 just for the temporary permit.
Yeah,
an extra fixed $50.
And
That's an extra $50 in your pocket.
Yep, that's why we ask you these questions, is because we calculate that either way.
Okay. Yeah, I don't do Northeast at all.
Okay.
And not typically. I mean now the lane rate that I'm going to have you do, the example, it is a run, I think, going to, hang on, let me see.
And just so everybody knows, I asked Ignacio to get some screenshots of a couple of different loads off of his load board because he does run his own authority. He has his own truck stop load board subscription. So he got a couple of screenshots, sent them to Mitchell.
Yep.
Because Ignacio, we were trying to have the actual load info shown just like Scott's got his LANEMetrics, but we couldn't get it figured out. But
technical difficulties.
Scott is the genius of the tech side, and he wanted to help us with it. So there's that. I gotta give you a little bit of crap, Scott.
That's all right. So okay, yeah, all the other baseline numbers there. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot of real stuff to put in there, so maybe you guys can kind of help me out on that part.
Well, did you want to add let's just say if you had a dispatcher or somebody that was a percentage off the top, we can add that.
Yeah, 6%. 6%. I have one that I pay 6%. So that's a real number for me. 6% for my dispatcher.
Okay.
Me, I didn't do a dispatch. I dispatched myself.
And we got factoring set.
Yeah, we can use that.
But we can use that. Okay.
2% factoring. So yeah, the load.
Typically factoring is 3%
I'm
or
paying
even
2%.
2.75. Are you? Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
he's
paying.
paying
We could go
2%.
by
Yes,
2%.
yes, sir. I'm
That's
paying
fine.
2% now.
Okay. All
So
right. So yeah, what was like the load example that I have to use here is going to New Jersey. So do we need to change that check mark box up there at all, or no?
hang on 1 second. Before we do that, let me show you. When you do all that and you get all your numbers in, here's one of the first thing you're going to see. This is your estimate of what you're
Okay.
actually doing for taxes and summary of all of it. You can see you got a dispatch carrier percentage of 20,000, your company net, your factoring, it's all in there.
Oh wow.
It
Yep.
projects and estimates what it will be for the year. Of course, you're going to have tire blowout, fuel prices change, we know, but this is just to give you an idea. So at those rates, to make that profit, you'd have to be getting 304 average on a loaded mile for 90% of your miles for the year.
Okay.
So that tells you that right there. It's right off the top. You already see you're going to have to gross $342,000 if you want to do a
With the
total
rate,
net.
with the rates the way they are, and the fuel
Yeah.
and everything else.
Yeah. Which a big part of that is your fuel cost. And you can see that. That's over
Mhm.
here.
Right.
Is
Sage, I
it
never
safe to
drove for
say like
Uber.
a dinosaur? Is it safe to say like a dinosaur like myself that is not tech savvy? This parameters, these numbers, once you put them in there, you don't have to revisit them, right? Only what has changed for the day.
Right.
Is that right?
That's right. Yep. You
Oh,
put them in there once and it calculates your baseline one time and then that's it. Unless you change something or your insurance changes or whatever, you can go back and update anything anytime you want, but you don't ever
And
have to go
that's
back.
usually yearly.
Okay.
Yeah,
Typically,
you
that's yearly. And I will also say, unless you're swapping out from reefer to flatbed or even dry van or hopper, anything like that, you ain't gonna have to change it. Correct? Am I correct on that?
Yep, that's right. And the thing about this too, this is just to give you an idea. And then
Yeah.
if the fuel prices change, you can go change it. It's like, let me show you this one. Let's see. So your total for the
Sage,
year.
you really can't say the math is wrong.
No,
You can't
the
just
math's
say
not
that.
wrong. I can promise you that.
If you want to say that, prove it.
Now on fuel, it's showing $94,000, but that's with today's fuel rates too. So what you can do is you can go back and say, well, I'll tell you what, let me show you how one thing affects the other and how they cascade off of each other. Because let's see, right here, tractor fuel. You're looking at burning
I wonder if he's saying that because
16
he's making him sweat.
You're looking at burning 16,666 gallons in a year, right? So if it goes down $1 a gallon from what we have it estimated on right now, that would be what? Let me just do quick math here in the pencil and just see.
Let me clarify. You can, but it's not accurate. Not until you show proof. Just because you say it doesn't make it true. Show the proof.
Right. 1 second. Let me do something. I want to show something here. So here's what I'm going to show you, how one thing affects the other and how it gets way more complicated than most people realize. And it'll be a simple demonstration. It's not going to be too hard. You'll see it. 94,000 for fuel. And what we're going to do is we're going to say fuel drops $1 a gallon. And if we're burning 16,666 gallons, that should drop it to 77,000 $334 for the fuel cost, right? So if we're doing that, then
You
what
should
else?
be able to upload photos, anything like that, anything that you can do. Okay.
So
Later
look at
on, we will take phone calls, and you can speak on my other phone.
This is an exam. This isn't. I mean, this is for example purposes. I mean, you know.
Hmm.
And
so if
you know what? Go ahead.
where you've got
I'm
your
sorry,
gross
Scott.
revenue, see where you have your gross revenue of 342,278 there in the middle. That's what you have to gross for the year based on fuel prices right now. So if we take $16,666 off of that, which would be $1 a gallon drop in fuel, it should show 325,612 by simple math, right? But that's not going to be what happens. Let me show you. So instead of 564 a gallon, we'll say it's 464 a gallon, right?
Right, for your fuel discount and everything else.
Yeah. So we're talking about 16,666 gallons. It just dropped by $1 a gallon. So that should have reduced our overall gross rate to 325,612, but it won't. Watch. Now you're down a lot more than that. You're down to 316,964.
For the expenses, right?
That's another $8,918 that it reduced your gross revenue cost by. And the only thing it changed here, I'll go back and show you the fuel again. The fuel changed by exactly what I told you it would change. See that? 77,333. Because we reduced by $1 a gallon on 16,666 gallons.
Yeah, we're still talking about setting up the baseline. We haven't even gotten into crunching lanes and everything yet.
Right. But what I'm trying to show you is how dynamic everything is and how everything feeds off of everything else. Because it didn't go to 325. It dropped all the way to 316. And that other $8,918 came off of the fact that a lot of these numbers in here feed off of the gross.
Mm-hmm.
So when somebody says, well, fuel went up by $1 a gallon, I got to increase my rate by $16,000 for the year. No, you don't. You got to increase it by more than that because you're paying for these other things that go on top of it, and they all come off of it. You got a dispatcher, you got factoring, you got all these other things that are a percentage of the gross. So if you have to increase your gross to cover your operating expenses, your fuel, and fuel goes up by $1, you've got to go up by way more than $1 so that when everybody else gets their piece of the pie, you still have that $1 left to cover that increase because other stuff increases as well.
Go over to Facebook if you can post up pictures.
What's that?
That is a very important information because because for myself, I have a direct account, and just because the fuel increased overnight, I wanted to manage my service at the same time that I was trying to be fair, but definitely I didn't want to lose money on my renegotiation, but I couldn't get a good number. So this would have been a good tool for me to have a good number to come in there and say, listen, the gas prices are almost double. And we all know that, but this is how I'm going to recover that increase on my fuel, just for us to have the same rate that I was giving you before. So I could have used this tool, prove to them that what I'm doing in my negotiation for the same rate, that's actually just for me and for them. So I could have used this tool here to renegotiate my direct account so I can have my relationship is still in good terms with them, because it's different when you go in there and say, look, you need to give me $100, $200 more per load. because the fuel increase. But when you actually have a tool like this where it can explain, like Chris was saying, if it's not a fact, it doesn't count. But when you can actually break it down to them, explain to them why you need to charge you more, it might be more credible or maybe more reliable, right? So I could have used that, and many others could have used that for that reason as well.
Okay.
Right.
Let's
Okay,
continue
so
with
Sage, hold
getting
on,
the
hold
baseline.
on. Sage, here is something I got to say to your last comment. Wait, but you already factored the other fees. We already said that those numbers can change because they do fluctuate.
Yeah.
We already stated that.
So
Okay.
here on the
If you're
last
going
thing-
to troll, I will kick you out.
So
Go
on
ahead,
this last-
Scott. Sorry.
last screen of this,
Okay.
where time analysis is, you can scroll down here. You can see we have a slider bar for your time, and that's how many days on the road. And you can set it anywhere from 200 to 365 days on the road. Right now, Mitch had said 290, so that's where it's set at. I want you to notice the fixed cost per mile of 42 cents and what your fixed costs are per day, per mile. Because when you slide this one way or the other, a lot of guys start out as owner operators and they think, oh, I can take it easy now. I can stay home and take vacations and just go when I want to go. Yeah, you can, but you got to remember those fixed costs are fixed. It's costing you the same amount every day, whether you're on the road or you're not. And those days that you don't go on the road, that means that the miles you do
Profit
run
loss.
for the year, that cost goes up. So at 290, you can see it's 42 cents a mile. So what if you were lazy and you only wanted to be on the road 200 days a year? Now your fixed cost just went up to 60 cents a mile. And
All
you
right.
can see it in real time right there with that slider. You can slide it back and forth and see it. It went from now it's at $260 a day and 60 cents a mile. And then you go up here and you can increase it. You go to 365 days a year and you cut it all the way down to 33 cents a mile on your fixed costs.
Yeah, that's very intuitive.
And
So
see,
based
that's
upon
one
the
thing
variables
people
that we
don't
have
know.
in there, this is what it's set up to do. So why
And
don't
see,
we
one thing
let's
that
use the okay, let's if we need to finish up any of the baseline stuff, let's get on to actually processing a load and rating a load.
here we go. Go for
Yep.
it.
Okay, so let me get that
And
get it pulled up
again,
here.
these are
Yep.
actual loads that Ignacio pulled off of truck stop just today. We just can't show the actual proof because, like I said, Scott didn't inform us how to do the screen share.
Well, and to be upfront too, I don't know anything about this at all. This is being thrown at me right now, so there's nothing pre-planned or manipulated or anything else. I've got no idea what you're about to tell me.
Go ahead, Mitchell. Read out the first load.
Okay, can you guys hear me? Okay, so we're starting in Riverside, California.
Now, is this going to be a current location so we can set up deadhead?
Yeah. The deadhead is only 23 miles, so that's the point of origin Ignacio had set. So 23 miles, deadhead to Riverside, California.
So, Ignacio, where is the current location set at?
It's in Ontario, California. The same loads are out of Ontario, California.
Okay.
No, where are you located? That way it calculates the actual deadhead miles to the loads.
That's what I always use, Ontario. I park right there in Ontario. So that is my base.
Okay.
So
23
I put
miles,
those three
like I
loads
said.
based.
Just
Okay.
let me
Yes,
tell him.
I was just clarifying. I was
Okay,
just
I got
clarifying.
All right. All right. So So that's what he said. You had 23 miles to Ontario, California. Yeah.
So Riverside, California to Ontario. Is that what we're doing?
No.
Yes.
So yeah, Ontario is the location we're deadheading from. Pickup is in Riverside.
Okay.
There we go. Okay.
So the
And
first,
we're picking up on the 4th by noon.
Okay. So we'll just say what, 10 a.m.?
Yep, 10 a.m. pickup.
Okay.
It's going to Edison, New Jersey.
Delivering when?
It's going to deliver by the 8th.
8th at what, 8 a.m.?
Yep, 8 a.m.
Okay. Reefer, dry van?
Yeah, it's a dry van load.
Okay. You're going to need a driver assist, driver unload, lift gate. You're going to need to scale it if it's heavy enough. Does it need to be cat scaled?
Let's see here. No, it's going to be 38,700 pounds for the cargo
Okay.
weight.
Yeah, you want to throw a cat scale in there just to be sure? Say
Yep.
15?
Yep.
All right. And I'm sorry, you said the weight was 38, what?
7.
38,700.
Yep.
Okay. Not hazmat.
No.
And we're going to eat the deadhead since it's a short deadhead.
Yep.
And fuel costs, are we going to use national average?
Is it going to factor in our discount here, or we need to put that at our discounted price?
Well, honestly, out in California and out west, I know fuel is a whole lot higher than 535. So
Right.
Yeah.
we want to go
Okay.
higher, honestly.
Absolutely.
You can probably put 705 on the gallon, because you're right, is way higher than the national average.
Yeah, this trip's fuel cost.
we're trying to figure your actual discount that you get at the pump by using your fleet card or using mud flap or anything like that as well.
Yeah, it is pretty safe. You can put anywhere from 685 to 705, depending on.
Is that going to be the average over the trip, though?
Run it. Yeah, it's going to be. Is it going to be an average over the whole trip?
Right. Like, why would we want to pay California fuel price? Like, if we don't have to.
Exactly.
Right. If it's going to be
because
the
you're
general
going to
average,
more than one.
Well, yeah.
Right. If it's going to be over average, let's go with the national average then.
Okay.
Baseline.
We'll just leave it at that. And calculate. And here we go. There it is. Mile based is a winner in this calculation. Time based, because it was getting there quick enough that the mile base is actually the winner. So you're looking at, here's your total cost, $78,883.
Okay. Yeah, it said that the load was paying $7,800 on truck stop.
That's what you would need to be hitting your minimum is $78.83 on that.
So not too far off, really.
No. There's your taxes.
But is that's calculating in your extra profit there? That's just saying that's your actual cost. So you need to rate that lane higher if you want to make a profit.
Yep. That's your target goal minimum right there. That's your minimum that you want to accept. So you don't want to go any lower than that. Is what it's telling you.
Well, that's fine, Sage. You can have a truck. You can say that you got a truck that can do it for 6,000. This is an example. We're We're not booking this load right here. We're just setting an example based upon the baselines that were set. We can change those baselines that can alter this final outcome number.
Like I said, Sage, if you're going to troll, I will kick you out.
I mean, part of this in this summary up through here.
Then you would set your cost into at the beginning.
Right.
That way it calculates yours.
And we were showing that if you want to put in all the different inputs, Sage, you got an example you want to put in, be our guest.
You know exactly how you're trolling, so don't play dumb.
But right here, you can see it picked up your easy pass. There's your toll pass. There's your weight distance taxes.
I'm sorry, I'm allergic to bullshit.
Yeah, we have a history with Sage.
$15 scale fee. There's your total hidden costs that you didn't have to go research and try to figure out. $246.71.
That's good.
Goodbye, Sage.
Like I said, unless he wants to actually provide the real numbers, if he's not willing to do that, then I mean,
yeah, I told him he could go over on Facebook and upload photos.
Yeah.
There's
or type it out in the comments. I mean,
yeah,
come on.
If he wants to be the one to play with the numbers, go right ahead.
There's the dispatch part of it, and then the factoring fee. So at 6% dispatch fee, you're looking at $473. Factoring fee of $157. It's all there. There's your fixed cost.
Okay.
$11.49. Routine maintenance of $167. Tire wear, that is also $167. Then you can see here, you put in, you told me, what was your FUeL mile per gallon, did you say? I forgot, it was like 7 something.
7.5. Yeah, running a Volvo.
On your deadhead mile per gallon, you actually got 8.5. That's what we had estimated that on. This one is your deadhead. So when you're running empty, you're getting better mile per gallon. And then when you're running loaded, we calculate it based on the cargo weight, and it dropped it to 6.84 on 38,000.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
We're right in the ballpark on that. You're at $2,139 in fuel, another $41 for DEF. And if you had a reefer, it would show you how much reefer fuel and maintenance that was.
Yeah,
and
so
miles, 2,736.62 miles.
So those of you who are listening, the reason why we're being so hard with Sage, he has a tendency in coming into truckers podcasts that are trying to help each other out and trying to make our industry better and trying to figure out different solutions. He has a tendency, along with his other buddy Narc, to make a point to harass drivers.
Yeah.
So he's coming in here. His questions that he has are not authentic. They're not genuine.
Nope,
he's trying to do whatever he can to shoot holes.
I have personally been dealing with Sage for almost 3 years now. With Narc, about 2.5 years.
And you can see here, we've got the map also where you can, on that route, when you route it, it'll show you exactly how PC Miler routed you. You can see it going across the states. You can blow it up as big as you'd like.
Very good. So it explains your routing. I mean, it's so intuitive. I mean, it even tells me like the hourly rate and everything. That's pretty intuitive.
Yeah, and while that sounds like a whole lot of money on that rate, you figure it's $2.88 per mile with a 98-cent per mile profit margin is where your target rate is. So then when you go and do an offered rate, it's measuring against those targets. And you can see on these two gauges here, everything is getting set off of that target rate. And that target rate is the winner, which in this case is the mile base rate. If the time base rate would have been more profit per hour, then it would have been the winner and it would be using those. And what you can do, offered rate. You want to throw something at me? What do you think your offer is? You said what? 7,800.
Yeah, it said the load was offered on Truck Stop for $7,800.
So at 7,800, just that quick, pretty much instantly, there's your net profit, 26.64. Over here in this bottom part of this, it shows offer rate. You're at 285 a mile and 97-cent profit. You're at 99% of your target rate. You're at $29.28 an hour for the entire 91 hours. And
So if I run at that rate, I'm not going to make a loss. That's a pretty decent profit on that load, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not bad. It's right there at where your target rate wants to be. So if you could get them up to say 8,400, if you could be that lucky to get them up some, if you could do it at 8,400, that's more than this. You're ahead of the 78.83. So now you're way on up there. You're at 307 gross and $1.12 profit a mile. You're at 114% of your target rate, and you're up at $33.78 an hour. And this is time zone specific. Like when you're going from California and you're going all the way to New York or wherever, you're crossing 4 time zones. It accounts for all those time zones in that transit.
Wow.
No matter what you're doing.
And the way that I see this, it's going to help people improve on their negotiation skills.
Exactly. Because you can throw me any rate right now, and I can literally go in.
It doesn't matter how good you think your negotiation skills. This will increase it.
Yeah, he said he could move it for what, $6,000? Boy, he really
6,000. Somebody's going to do it.
He really doesn't like. Yeah, Sage really doesn't like to take care of his drivers on that, does he?
Well, it all depends on his operating costs. All of his costs are different. But
yeah, it does. But here's all
be too far apart.
Yeah,
exactly. I've always said it's anywhere. Everybody can have a different operational cost, but it's not going to be more than 30 cents difference.
Yeah,
it shouldn't be, because even if your equipment's paid for on that company escrow percentage, you should increase that on up by another 10, 15, 20% and get that up to where you are putting away enough money for the replacement cost of that equipment.
Exactly.
It has to be replaced.
Exactly.
And
that's what a lot
here's
of
the other side to it. Here's the other side to it, okay? So Sage said he could get it moved for $6,000. That he has a driver that would move it for $6,000. Okay, so the real question is, does that driver that he's dealing with, because Sage is a broker.
Yeah.
Okay. So is his driver that he's hiring to move that freight for him actually know his true operational cost?
Well, and we didn't even get into the aspect of what was it being moved, like we didn't even get into, that. I mean, we just said it was a dry-van load. We didn't say what kind of commodity it was neither. So how can he really say he could move it for $6,000 when we didn't even discuss the commodity?
No, because of that.
Right, because the commodity actually.
This is giving you your minimum target, and you got to know how to go from there. So the more value there is on that load, the more risk you're taking, the higher the rate.
Right.
And regulations by state is right there inside it also. It highlights every state in a map dynamically that you're going through. If there's any snow chain laws, the states are blue. If
there you go.
Green. And then it'll show you if there's an APU weight variance, it shows you for every one of those states.
Yep.
Where it measures to, what the length to measure. It shows you all this stuff.
Yeah.
It shows you everything you need to know right there. West Virginia has a snow chain. Pennsylvania has a snow chain. You can look at Pennsylvania. It shows you. It's very extensive and shows it all.
That's nice.
Are. And when you click on it, you can actually zoom it in on it as much as you need to read it. But yeah.
There you go.
Tier 1, 2, 3, Tier 4, Tier 5. It shows all the ins and outs of what's permitted, what's not, when. Pennsylvania really goes into a bunch of detail on their stuff. But that's all there, and it's all there in a dynamic list by state.
Okay.
Let's do one more lane, and this is just throwing numbers out there because I'm going to do it from my area because I know my area is the best, right? So
Okay. Well,
let's.
one quick thing. Let me show you something right quick here too.
Okay,
Let's
because
just
I
say
do
that
have to
load.
go here soon. But
Okay, let's just say 4,000. That same load there, cross country. If I offered you 4,000, that's how much you're losing.
Jeez.
It shows you the total loss and the loss per mile.
Yeah, it lights up. It says, basically said, don't do it.
Yeah, and the gauges are turned red, so it's like you can't miss it. Like,
Right.
and when they're all compressed, you can scroll the list and you can just easily spot, this one is a no-go. That one ain't making nothing. It's a no-go. And then you say, oh, that one's a pretty good profit. The needle's maxed out. What was that one again? And then you go
Uh-huh.
look.
Right. So you can do up to like 5 at a time.
Right. It'll let you compare up to 5 in the list at once.
Okay.
And just a quick observation, somebody for myself, in my yard, I can hook up to a reefer, I can hook up to a flatbed or a drive-in. I can easily go on here, compare the early loads that are available for me, and I can do the quick math using this application to see what I decide to hook on regarding my profit for the day, right? So if my reefer is more profitable from the get-go, I'm going to hook up to the reefer. If the drive-in or the flatbed are better, that's what I'll hook up onto. So it's actually a great tool to help you what to hook onto, right? For the week or for the trip.
Yeah. You got
If you
those
have the
options for sure.
possibilities like I do.
Yeah, when you're dealing with multiple different types of trailers like that and you got the option, yeah, it's great to have something where you can real quick run some numbers and be like, okay, this is where we're making the most profit. That's what we're going to do.
yeah, most definitely. Okay,
And
are we ready for?
it'll allow you up to 30 extra stops too.
Oh yeah, that's something I was going to ask. If you extra stops for pickup and extra stops for drop, you got all that in there.
Yeah. Well, you just
That's one of the ones that I'm going to do.
all we
Okay.
need to know on it is the extra stop. It doesn't matter as far as calculating the miles and stuff. All we need to know is it's an extra stop and where it's at. The only times we need are your pickup and your final destination.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That determines the whole transit time.
Okay.
Did you have another one you said you wanted to do?
Yeah.
Go ahead,
So
Chris.
current location, FUeL, Idaho.
What is it?
FUeL, B-U-A. Yep, B-U-H-L.
83316 zip code.
Yep.
There you go. All right.
Okay. First pickup, Pingree, Idaho.
Probably have to spell that one for me.
Pingree.
There we go. All right. Picking up when?
Let's say tomorrow. What's tomorrow's date?
Tomorrow, Sunday.
The third.
Yeah, so the 3rd.
Okay.
Let's say 2:00. And again, this is just random, but it's a lane that I know moves quite a bit during produce season.
Did you want 2 a.m. or 2 p.m.? I probably put 2 a.m.
2 p.m.
Okay. There we go.
Okay. And then next stop,
You're gonna have
American
what,
Pulse.
just one extra stop.
No, there's going to be actually two.
So 3 total drops.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, two pick. Yeah.
Alrighty. I'm ready.
And then also Rexburg, Idaho.
That'd be your first extra. Be Rexburg.
No, the first extra is American Falls.
Still in Idaho. There we go.
Yep.
And then you said Rexburg.
Yep. Rexburg, Idaho.
Okay. Then you need where you're delivering your last stop.
So first delivery is going to be Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay, wait a minute. It's got more than one.
Yeah.
Okay, hang on. How many? 2?
3. 3 pickups, 3 drops.
3 picks and 3 drops. Oh, okay. All right.
So
Okay.
second drop.
Hang on. Let me make sure we got this right. You're in Buell, Idaho. You're picking up, and first pick is in Pingree, Idaho. Then we're going to American Falls, then Rexburg.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then what?
Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay.
That's your first drop.
Okay. Next drop.
Is going to be Springfield, Missouri.
And this would actually, if you knew the zip codes and just throw them, like if you're talking to a broker on the phone, this actually goes really quick. But doing it this way takes a little longer, but that's okay. Go ahead. Now what? Final drop?
Then the final drop is Carthage, Missouri.
All right. Now we picked it up on Sunday. When's your final drop?
The final drop is going to be Thursday at noon.
Okay. Dry van or reefer?
Reefer.
Refrigerated cycle century for potatoes, unless you're talking about French fries.
They usually want continuous.
Okay, continuous. Refrigerated or frozen?
Refrigerated.
Okay. And then a trailer washout for potatoes, are they floor loaded?
No, they're on pallets in bags.
Okay, you ain't got to worry about them.
Mm.
Washing out a trailer with floor load potato gets expensive quick nowadays.
Yeah, trust me, I've had to do it once. I've done one floor load before. Yeah. They ended up costing me $250 just for a washout.
Yeah. Public scale, what do you want to do? Probably $20 for a weigh and a reweigh to get it balanced right?
Yeah.
Or 25, 20? All right. Total weight on it? About
43.5.
43,500. All right. We're going to eat the deadhead just so we can show it. FUeL, you just going to use national average? Or you want to go up or down?
No, you could go by the national average. It's pretty similar, especially with my discount when I was getting the discount, fuel
Okay.
discount.
You got any idea what a rate you'd want on it?
Let's go with 6,000.
Okay. Calculate 1,001, 1,002, 1,003. There you go. Comes right back. The Carthage, you're looking at a total of 144.45 deadhead, 1,528 loaded, is 1,672 total miles. On a $6,000 offer rate, you're at $2,299 profit.
Yeah, that's a good load.
And then there's your route where it's showing everything.
That's what I actually quote the brokers. That's what I was quoting the brokers before my engine went out for that lane.
I mean,
Now,
that's
see, in this
a
one-
good profit. I mean, considering what you got a half a week wrapped up into it.
Yeah.
$3.93 a mile gross, $1.50.
Typically, the brokers were trying to go around, 5,000 to 5,200 is what they were trying to move it for.
Yep. You can get on the USDA's website and you can see what the average truck rates are that they're paying for trucks on a lot of different stuff like that. They release a new PDF every week.
Uh-huh.
It tells you not the broker bullshit, but it tells you what the actual producers are paying to have their freight moved. The whole rate, not your cut. So if you ever wonder what a broker's getting, that'll give you a good idea.
Uh-huh. Yeah, if you get the $6,000 for that load, that's a decent load. That's not bad.
So why don't you go back and actually adjust it to where you add the deadhead miles in?
Add the miles.
Just to show the deadhead. Because you got like 200 miles deadhead.
Right. Well, they're accounted for here as a loss because we didn't try to charge for it.
Mm-hmm. That way it shows everybody the difference. Right. That's what I'm trying to show.
If I can remember all those things. FUeL.
Oh, shoot, it deleted it.
Oh. FUeL, Idaho.
BU.
Yeah, if you got... Yeah. BUHL.
Yep, we'll have to go through it again. Let's see, 4. First pick was, what was it?
American Falls.
No, first pick is Pingree, Idaho.
Pingree.
It's the western part of Idaho. It's right by the state line of Oregon.
And you said pick up when? 10 a.m.?
Yeah. We'll go with 10 a.m.
I think it was. Because all that will actually.
Well, we said 2 p.m.
Oh, yeah.
We said 2 p.m. But
yeah. Well, we can do that. Let's see. 2 p.m. Then your first drop or first extra. That was.
Is American Falls.
Okay.
Idaho.
And your next one?
Rexburg, Idaho.
There we go. Next.
First drop, Kansas City, Missouri.
There we go. Next one was Springfield, right?
Yep.
Last one was Carthage.
And we said the 7th at 10 a.m. That's what it was, wasn't it?
Yep. On Thursday.
Yep. We said reefer, refrigerated, running continuous, no washout. We said scale was 20.
$20. Yeah.
And what was the weight? 40, what was it?
43.5.
And then we're going to break even on the deadhead and let whatever expenses we have on that deadhead, we're just going to roll it into the rate, or we're at least not spending anything.
Okay.
They're covering our costs to get there, basically, without making a profit, but still. So, and there's what it looks like. Now all that's rolled
Okay.
into it. Now your net profit is a little more
A little bit.
because
And this is factoring in your true net profit after all your expenses. So is that hidden cost? Is that a button that you can hit to pull up the hidden costs?
yeah, you can do that by itself. You don't have to go down here and go in here and go through
Okay.
all this. You don't have to do all that. You can just click right there, and there it is. Any tolls, any of that.
Okay.
And two, you can add notes. Like you can say whatever, whatever you want to put here.
Yep.
And then when you come back to it, it's there. But the thing about that is when you save that into that part, we don't see that. None of that gets transferred to the database or the back end servers or
Nothing.
anything. That lives only on your phone, period. So if you delete it, it's gone. You break your phone, have to get a new phone and reinstall the app, it's gone. So if there's anything important you have in there and you want to keep it, you better write it down on a piece of paper before you delete it from here. Because like I say, that's for your security to know that nobody's trying to spy on you or worry about what you're doing or take your freight or nothing of that.
Okay.
We don't look at your data. We don't share your data. We don't do anything with it. The only thing we do is save your baseline numbers and these loads so that if you do end up having to come back and reinstall or whatever, then these numbers are all saved and you don't have to start over from scratch. But as far as things like that are load specific, they're confidential, no, we don't see it. We don't want to know.
That's awesome. So, I mean, you grab that load and then you could figure out yourself a good load to return back home to FUeL or close by and.
Yep.
Okay.
And you'll notice right there too, it says base hourly rate $83.22. If anybody ever wondered, what do I need to be charging for detention? Now you know. It's right there.
Bam.
And let's do something right quick too. I want to just demonstrate something for you, just how far this goes. Let me delete this one because I think we have 5 now.
Okay.
I'm gonna do this. I want to show you what this can do. Now, you said FUeL, Idaho, and what was one of the others?
Pingree.
Pingree. Yeah, I think I spelled it wrong.
PIN.
PIN. Okay.
Yeah. Pingree.
And that was a short distance too. It was only like 20 miles, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's 200 miles.
Oh, 200.
Okay. Well, that'll work too. I just want to show you what it does on a really short load from FUeL to Pingree. And then we're going to say Pingree. What's the next pickup? It was close to the other one. Pingree to where?
American Falls.
American Falls. Is that one pretty close together?
No. That's about 250 to 270.
Well, that ain't going to work then. I was wanting to demonstrate. I'm not familiar with all these damn places in Idaho. I never run up that way that much. When I did, it's been a long time ago. Let me show you one here that I know. 42003. Paducah 2. 42023. Marble, Kentucky. Then we're going to go to Sykes. You bastard. Let me say Sykeston.
Saxton, Missouri.
So we're looking at one day, 3rd 6 a.m. to the 4th at 6 a.m. It's going to be a really short load, but I'll show you. As a matter of fact, let me change that because I want to do something different with it. I'm going to change the date and time. We're going to deliver it at, we'll say, 11 a.m. on Monday. We're going to pick it up at 7 a.m. on Monday. So we're looking at picking it up 7 a.m. Monday, delivering it at 11 a.m. Monday, and it's going to be a really short load. But watch what happens here. Now read what the rate recommendation says.
Okay, okay. So if you don't put it in there, then it'll tell you what it recommends you charge.
Well, it does that anyway, but when you're doing a really short load, the thing of that is, if you read that, your half day rate, which is a minimum for 5 hours, half day rate, plus your base hourly rate for all additional hours after 5 hours. So even though it's only going 47 loaded miles, you can see what the gross is on it. 834 a mile is your target rate. Because even though it's going that short of a distance, you still have to make your target goals, and you have to do that. When anytime you call a big carrier and ask them to do something like that, that's exactly what they're going to tell you. We have a half day minimum rate, and then we charge X amount of dollars for every hour after. That's how the industry works. That's how the big boys play.
Yep.
And that's how this works.
Okay.
Just because it's only 47 loaded miles and you can be over there in a couple of hours and do it. No, you don't do it for a couple of $100. That's crazy. You still got to make what you need to make, because even at that 400, you can see you're only making $175 net profit.
Yeah, that ain't very good.
Yeah, but it comes out $368 a mile. But there again, this is your minimum. If you can get more than 4, then you do. But this is a firewall. It protects you from screwing around and losing money when you don't need to be. It gives you an idea of where the bottom is for you.
Yep.
See, that just proves my point when I tell everyone you have a daily rate, you have an hourly rate, and you have a weekly rate that you need to meet in order to know your actual operational cost.
Yep. And this handles all of it.
Yep.
Very cool.
And then you have your monthly revenue rate.
Very good. That's very, I mean, it's, very intuitive. What else can this app do that you haven't showcased yet?
Well, we have over here fuel prices. This is where the EIA is updated every week. Every PADD, I call them pads, but every different region of the country has a different national average that they set every week. And you can see they're all color coded. And you can see the national average, and then you can also look at it by region. So if somebody called, if you were in California, then you'd already be looking at this and know the national average for fuel in California, $7.22, almost $7.23 a gallon right now.
Good Lord.
So yeah, and then if you take California out, it's still $5.92. You add it back in, and the average over all those states, Arizona, California, Nevada, Oregon, and Washington, is still $6.53. So
Lordy.
That gives you a good idea of where you need to be if you're plugging in a different fuel price on a lane. And we give you the prior 3 weeks plus the current week of where it's at. And then on the reminders, these are kind of cool. They're a little different. You can see where we've got IFTA, KYU, Connecticut. We got a base plate. Look at the base plate. You can see you got a year and 52 days left before you got to pay it.
Okay.
It's due 6/23 of 27 is when that one expires. So it tells you when it expires and it gives you a deadline that it has to be paid by. And the interesting thing about the quarterly things, and show you here, you can see this is expiration of the quarter was 3/31, and I left these expired because you can see when you do your menu, you see something flashing over here in red. That means you got something that's overdue or it's getting close to being overdue within 30 days.
Okay. So yeah, it
And
can
when
keep
this-
track of all your different
right.
all your different
Yeah.
things that might expire on you. Okay.
Yep. And we give you a long list of industry specific things. But like for IFTA, that's a quarterly recurring thing. So there's no
Yep.
need to go in and reset it every time. You can mark this one as paid. You just paid it the other day or whatever. You
Boom,
hit confirm.
done.
And now you look down here, it's automatically reset for the next quarter, and you got exactly 90 days left to pay the next quarter.
Yep. Okay.
So that's how that works. Connecticut.
All for $20 a month, $19.99 for a
I
subscription.
mean, if you can't
And-
get it to pay for itself, you're doing something wrong.
Here's all your different ones that you have to choose from. And then if you want to do a custom one, you can do custom ones as well and enter whatever it is, somebody's birthday, keep yourself out of trouble with the wife or whatever.
Okay. Okay.
And whatever it is. Of course, nobody's going to have a birthday then, but still. There you go. 18 days away. Don't forget.
All right.
Scott, let's say, for
Pretty cool.
example, they order the monthly subscription. Can they cancel them, or it has to be under a contract for a certain amount of time?
No, if you do the 14-day trial and you like it and you subscribe and you get past the 14-day trial, it's automatically going to start billing you for whatever you chose. And anytime you decide you don't want to use it anymore, you can go into your subscriptions in that whatever app store you did and cancel it anytime. And it will, whatever month you're in, that's where it'll stop.
Awesome. Yeah, another reminder
So,
that
let
is
me
not
ask-
it's actually good to
Go ahead, finish.
study other lanes, right? You can do it to from home, study other lanes. So just in case your lane is dying, you can actually go and move to another lane by having a small little study with your application here.
Yep. Yeah, you can do some research, get on however load board you use or however you find your loads, and you can research lanes and find out what's profitable, what ain't. And it's extremely handy.
Yeah, absolutely. It just
like I
you
say,
just
if
got
it's
to. I mean, you
rain-
got to use it. You gotta implement it, not just pay for it and expect for it to do everything for you. You gotta keep up with your numbers and make sure all your baselines stay current. Do you have any variables that change? And
Just like you're doing with your
yeah.
TMS systems, if you have
right,
one.
just like you'd be doing on your
Just like
spreadsheet
you're
anyway.
doing if you're doing it on spreadsheet.
Right.
Yep.
Even if
And
you're using old school and going paper and pen.
Yep.
Yep.
Now, when you first sign up, this is going to be one of the first pages you see is the vehicle specs. And that one's easy enough to do. Then it takes you to the baseline numbers. And if you're confused or you're not sure about any of it, I mean, we pretty well explained it all to start with. But what you can do is go to profile settings, and right here we have the baseline number tutorial, and then we have the rate of lane tutorial, and you can click those buttons, and it'll actually take you to YouTube videos that walk you through every bit of it step by step and explain everything about it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I mean, really, it's pretty much dummy proof.
Well, that's what we
So
tried to do because
let me ask this. So if you actually do subscribe for the whole year, and then let's say 6 months down the road, you end up deciding to either, shut down your authority, have no use for it anymore for whatever reason, and you cancel, do you still lose out on the rest of the months? Or do you get refunded? How's that work?
well, that is actually not even handled by us because we integrate our subscriptions with the app stores, and they've got their own policies about refunds and things. So refund on something like that is they generally don't do it. And the fact that we offer a 14-day trial to begin with, they are very reluctant to issue anybody a refund. Now, if something happened and software changed or something on our end broke and it just not working, then obviously you'd get a refund. But other than that, no, I doubt very seriously they would issue one. But we don't have a say in that. That's Apple and Google that determine that. Because that's another thing. We're integrated with both of those. And for anybody that don't know how that works, I mean, I used to never really know how it worked. So when you set up an account with Apple or Google and you have an account there and you've got your credit card on file with them and they bill you every month for whatever apps and things you're using, the developers and people that own the apps like me and whoever, we don't ever see any of your financial stuff, your credit cards. We don't see any of that. We're not the ones billing you at all. We have zero to do with any of that. They bill you and we get a little bit of stuff that comes back in variables in their subscription part. And it basically it's true falses, really. Everything pretty much is true false. It's either numbers or it's true false. That's all apps are. And we get true falses that come from that subscription SDK that we integrated with that tells us either yes, they're paid or no, they're not. And that's it. That's all we know.
Yeah.
We don't see anything for that part.
Well,
So let me ask you this. So basically what you're saying is you have to sign a contract with Apple and Google Play to be able to use their platforms to have your app on their platform.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Very extensive.
Okay. And so I'm guessing here they control all the financial side, and you don't see any of that information, and then they end up taking their share, right?
Right.
And giving you the rest.
Exactly. And it works about like trucking. It takes a couple of months to ever get it. By the time they get it all their stuff done and the accounting part done that they do with all of it and everything else, and then before we ever see anything, it's a long process. So if you bought it today, I don't see it tomorrow. I might see it in 2 or 3 months. My share.
Right.
Yeah. And that's something
But
else.
So what about people signing up? How long does that take for you to know?
I'll know almost immediately. If somebody signs up and purchases a trial subscription, it feeds back triggers to us that, hey, you've had somebody sign up for a year package or a month package, and we can see that part. But as far as finance and all that, no, we don't know.
Does it tell you what they actually subscribe for, the monthly plan or the yearly?
Yeah, it does show us that. Yeah.
Okay. That's pretty cool. Just a little bit of knowledge for everyone.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, like I say, I was just a trucker. I didn't know nothing about how all this software stuff worked either until about 4 years ago when I started studying and going down the rabbit hole with it and learning it all. And I was lucky enough that I had a friend of mine that was a real guru on all this kind of stuff. He's a very, probably you guys wouldn't, but in the circle of tech and developers, if I mentioned his name, the people in the know would probably know exactly who I'm talking about. he would kind of mentored me in the beginning and drew out the structure and the blueprint and said, this is exactly how you want to handle this type of stuff. This is best practices. This is this, this is that. So this is all the stuff you need to study. If you got any questions, ask me. So that's what we did.
Yeah.
So basically, you learned just by a connection that you knew.
Right. Well,
Yep.
he gave me all the things that I would need to know to be able to get into this and be proficient at it and be able to do it all correctly and it not be just a mess.
That to me, that's pretty impressive.
It took a long time, believe me.
It's a lot of that's a lot of fortitude.
Lots of trial and error, lots of calls, but yeah, I got through it. We got it figured out. And then when I was done, I had him look it all over, all the security and structural parts, especially authentications and all that stuff, to be absolutely sure that we had everything perfect. And he signed. He said, "Yep, looks really good." He actually asked me if I wanted a job.
So let me ask
to me, that shows. To me, that shows that you have the passion for the industry and wanting to actually help the industry. That's what that shows to me.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I never really even thought about it that way, Chris, but I guess you're right. I mean, it does kind of show that, because like I said, if we would have hired somebody else to do it, an outside firm, we're talking about anywhere from almost $1 million to I think they said $1.4 million, I believe, was our highest quote we had.
To get it developed.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Just to get it developed and going.
I mean, yeah, if we'd have spent over $1 million getting it developed, I couldn't afford to give it to nobody for $20 a month. You know what I mean?
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. No wonder why the other software that big carriers use costs so much. Then that makes sense if they use anything that's kind of comparable.
It puts it a little bit more into perspective. Yes, it does. Yeah. Now, Scott, you don't have to answer this one if you don't feel like sharing it. But can I ask you, how much did you actually invest to get this up and going?
Oh, man. Yeah, I'd probably rather not say, honestly. It was a lot. I'll just say that.
I bet you it cost them every bit of fucking six figures.
It was a lot, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And like I say, at $19.99 a month, I tried to make it as affordable as I possibly could for everybody, because I am one of those little guys, and I know what it's like to be out there struggling and feeling like you're getting kicked everywhere you turn.
So after everything you've been through to bring it this far, how does it make you feel when people come at you and say you should give this away for free?
Well, all I can say is do a little research and first of all, try the app out and see the value proposition in it. That's my first thing. And then once you discover what it's really doing and how revolutionary it is, man, I mean, this could pay for a whole year subscription the very first time you use it and realize you're not making what you thought you were going to make.
Exactly.
But my thing there is, if I could do it for free, I would. But you got to remember, 3.5 years and a pile of money has already been invested into this. And the thing is, this is just the beginning. This is the MVP. This is just to get it out there and try to help get rates back up, because if everybody would start using this, they would realize how much money they were losing or missing out on. Maybe they'd quit pulling it so cheap, and it might help start getting rates to come back up some.
Absolutely.
Best thing it could ever happen.
Yeah, that's my thought.
Yeah.
So now let's say somebody shared this with one trucker buddy shared it with another, and they don't know who you are. They don't know who Truck Tech Innovations is. They just know a buddy told them to download this app, and they get in there and they're struggling even after watching the tutorial videos, and they need more one-on-one help. Are they able to get a hold of you on a hotline
Yep. Well, they can shoot us an email or support
Okay.
at trucktechin.com. And if they want help, a live call, all they got to do is put that in the email. Hey, I'm trying to figure this out, and I really like a phone call, and leave me your number, and we'll call you back.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll
What's the estimated turnaround time if somebody's struggling like that?
during the day, hopefully right now, until we start really getting busy, within a couple of hours at the most. It may be 10 minutes.
Okay.
But
just to say, for the audience sake and for the recording sake of this podcast and everything. So,
right now, if you send me an email at 3 a.m., you might have
it ain't gonna be till after morning coffee now.
Yeah, you might have to wait till 7, 8 o'clock in the morning before you'll hear from us. But we try to keep somewhat normal hours, but within reason.
Right.
Yeah, I would say that's reasonable, and also I would say you gotta consider the different time zones as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll be looking forward to, even though when I get back out after Memorial Day, I'll be a company driver. But once I get all the baselines that I can for that, we'll go over it and get it set up so I can start seeing what's going on with exactly what I'm doing. I'll be pulling a dedicated lane, so that'll be a little bit of a different deal, but it'll give me a great idea of what it should really be making, and am I really getting paid as well as I think I am, or weigh in everything.
Right. Yep. It's a really unique tool. It's a whole new take on an age-old problem, and nobody's ever cared enough to take the time to figure it out until now.
Yeah,
and we appreciate it, Scott. Yeah, to me, you got a heart of gold for doing this, especially with what you've done, how much time you put into it, how much effort you put into it, and just not doing it for the money. That's what it shows me.
Right. Well, in our first app, Raw Fuel 2.0, it is free. It's always been free. And there's guys that I taught them how that actually works. And once the button clicked and the light went on and they really grasped it and they started putting that into that concept into practice, they're saving thousands of dollars a year on fuel. I had one guy that I explained it to him in a live over a year ago. And
we should have almost ran an example with that, with using raw fuel and LANEMetrics together.
Well, we'll get Scott back on the show again in the near future to actually go over that, because that is another one that I have looked into and actually have used with one of the companies I drove for after my truck went down, because I wanted to help that company because they actually treated me really good. They were one of the good carriers. Unfortunately, they went out of business, and I ended up having some bad luck running with that company, because going back and forth from Washington to California and just getting pulled in and getting violations, and nothing major. It was all warnings, but it still raised the company's CSA score. I tapped one guy's mirror while I was parking, and then the last straw was I ended up pulling out of a truck parking spot, and no one was next to me when I was taking off, because I had just stopped to get a drink, go to the bathroom and everything, and I was pulling out to, finish out my route.
He ran into you.
Yeah, he did, because by the time I was, turning, I was already jackknifed to where I couldn't even see him. The only thing I was seeing was the side of the trailer and my mirror on my blind side. So I didn't even see him pulling into the spot next to me.
Yeah, you got to watch that, man. They sneak up on you.
Yep. So, and the company had to let me go, and that was mostly because of insurance reasons. But they were a really good company, so I tried to help them out, and I used FUeL 2.0 to actually calculate those IFTA between Washington, Oregon, California. Every once in a while, they'd send me down to Arizona or Colorado, So it actually did save them money, and they appreciated it. They're like, how are you doing this? And I told them about that app. They're like, we got to start using this with all of our trucks.
Yeah. So there you go. I mean, that's just it, I mean, I'll be running a dedicated lane from Sioux Falls to Burlington, Iowa. Sometimes I got to go to Edwardsville, Illinois, and then back. I'll be running that mostly, doing dry van, hauling for Silgan. And, I mean, I can use it there so that way I know along that lane, I know exactly where to buy the cheapest fuel for the company. And then they'll notice the same thing. And I'll say, if you like what I do there, you guys should check this other one out. Are you guys really getting what you should be out of this lane?
Right. And that was the good thing about that company too, because there was a very few times where they couldn't get the rate, right? Because they dealt a lot with brokers, but they typically stuck with certain brokerages. So if they couldn't get, like, they even told me that there was times that they were offered 81 cents a mile to take a load 1,000 miles.
Ugh.
And they wouldn't take it because they know they're losing money off of that. And so they couldn't find another load. And that's all that was in the area. So they would either ask me to sit or deadhead all the way back to Washington to where they did have a good, decent paying load, right? And even if I did sit, if I had hours on my clock, like a day and a half to 2 days, they actually paid me layover just to reset my clock. $250 to do my reset. They took care of me.
Yep.
That is a company taking care of their employees, showing that they care about their drivers.
Right.
And that's exactly why I tried to help them with the raw FUeL 2.0.
Yeah. And when you take care of your drivers, they take care of you.
Yeah, they even offered me a raise. I said, no, you guys are doing a great job. I know you guys are taking a hit here and there, and there's times that you're not really making a profit, so don't even worry about it, because I don't want to put you in that financial position. But you guys continue to take care of me. I'll work with you on it.
Yeah. Well,
don't worry about giving me a raise, nothing.
All right.
Anyways,
but,
great. It's a great tool that you came up with, Scott. I really appreciate your idea. I think we went through the whole thing, and as far as me, as an old fox out here in the field, even for us, we have a lot to learn from innovation, from technology, right? So we thank you for thinking of us. Thank you for giving us a tool where I believe is the strongest for the newcomer, right? That doesn't have experience, hasn't been in the game, to study the rates, to estimate on a lane or even on a load. So hopefully it will change the industry from the ignorant owner operator that is hurting the industry and themselves. Hopefully you give us the tools for us to be able to be stronger during the negotiations. And even, like I said, it even goes as deep as even evaluating whether we're going to be in coming into the business or not. Because if you come into the industry when it's struggling, why would you invest by refinancing your home or getting a line of credit or getting a loan? So thank you for your hard work, and thank you for being patient and helping us go through this application, so we don't have to be intimidated thinking that, oh, maybe because we're old dinosaurs out here, we're not going to be able to be competent in using this new technology. So thank you for explaining to us today. You've been very patient, and thank you with Mitch and Chris also for asking key questions. We appreciate you and your work.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. Yeah, like you say, it's not as intimidating. It's not as hard to figure out how to use as it sounds. It sounds like something really sophisticated that is extremely difficult to have to learn all these different things. And while it is sophisticated, we tried to keep all of that logic in the back end. And for the user looking at it, keep it just as simple and smooth as possible, where it's very intuitive, easy to understand, easy to interpret. So I hope we did a good job of that.
Yeah, I think you did a great job, and
you did
I want to say,
fantastic job.
yeah, I want to say, one thing on that, as well, thank you for the time you put in. Thank you for what you did to make this happen for the trucking industry, for the whole entire, really, the entire transportation network when you think about it, because it has the power to, like I've said before in some of the content I've made for this, it has the power to transcend the whole transparency topic. And, because how many times do we hear, it's our fault, it's our fault. Well, there is an aspect to that. And this negates that whole thing. So when they're trying to sit there saying, you don't know this, you don't know that, you don't know your if you can say, well, here's these screenshots, prove me wrong then.
Exactly.
Okay. And, so when you look into it, if a driver downloads this and subscribes to it, take a good hour to do your homework. Make sure your baseline is as accurate as possible. Because the more time
and if
you
you
invest
got
into
a
that, the more
TMS
accurate
system,
that number.
you've already got that.
Right.
You've already got those base numbers to be able to just enter into that.
Do your homework. Make sure that their baseline is set properly, and from that point on, there's no way they can do it. And at the end of the day, if you still got a broker telling you he can move it for less, well, then you just tell that broker no and don't move his cheap shit. And maybe 2 hours later, he's calling you, begging you to move it. And now you can say, well, gee, seeing as you wasted 2 hours of my time, let's see the hourly rate that I was, that you made me sit and wait for that. I'm going to add that onto the load and I'll take it for that price.
You would be surprised how many times you can get a better rate on a load if you have an exact penny to the penny rate. Now, I'm not saying these, because these are your target minimum rate, but take that rate and add $200 or $300 to it and include the part where it's $23.87. Add that in there and quote them that. And the first thing they're going to do is be in shock. You're going to hear silence for a minute. And the next thing that's going to happen is they're going to ask you, where did you get that number from? And you say, well, I'm using my own software and that's my rate. That's what I've got to have. And they immediately take you serious. They know you are a serious business person and you know your numbers. And that changes the entire conversation and their entire perception of you. When you call and you try to get a little, I need 1,800. They know you're just spitballing and you don't know. But when you start taking on to the dollar and to the cent, that's a whole different conversation. I know from experience, because I've done it many, many times over the years, and it just screws their whole day up. They don't know what to say. But you'd be surprised how many times I got my rate too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you can back up your numbers, it brings a whole nother level of negotiating power into the
Mm-hmm.
conversation. Like I said, and that right there, that's the exact reason why I say it's going to be able to transcend the need for transparency, because they ain't going to be able to fight you because they don't have anything this comprehensive and this sophisticated on their end to back up what they're saying. You know,
They
that's
actually
probably why
do.
Sage didn't
Some
put
of them
anything in.
actually
He just
do.
sat there and tried to downplay it, saying that he could move it for that, but he couldn't prove that he could move it for that.
If everybody started
Yeah.
using this, he may not move it for that no more.
Exactly. So, yep, make them sweat. Well, with that, gentlemen, I think we had a great podcast, great episode. You know, we got to go through this thing, I think, pretty thoroughly with a decently clean example. Things could have been a little more exact, but at the same time, in the interest of time, we had to make do with what we had there. But there again, the baseline, getting your baseline set straight, it takes care of the rest from there.
Yep. It's on autopilot then. You can just plug in zip codes and bam, 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 and there's your rate.
Thank you, Scott. You guys all have a good night.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Chris, Ignacio, good to see you. Die Hard, thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
Hey, not a problem. Like I said, you've got a heart of gold. I've known this man for over a year. I didn't realize he was this intelligent.
There's a reason why he's called Intelligent Trucker.
Tell everyone how to find you. Hey, yeah. So why don't you tell everyone how to find you, where to find you, anything, just in case they want to ask you questions or anything.
You can reach out to us on pretty much every social media platform known to mankind. We're there. LANEMetrics, all one word. You can find us there. You can Google us. You'll find our landing page. It's a page on Truck Tech Innovations. It's trucktechin with 2 N's.com. You can find us there, and you can reach out to us. We have an 800 number, and we also have support at trucktechin with 2 N's.com.
And like I said earlier, we're going to have you back on here shortly in the near future. And we'll do a live demo for Raw Fuel 2.0.
Sounds good. I look
and see how you're doing. Well, see how well you're doing with this as well. We'll keep everybody in the loop, and hopefully we become affiliates. Build that relationship and become affiliates with what me, Ignacio, Mitchell, and a few others are trying to put together right now. Not trying, doing, I should say.
Yeah, we are doing it for sure.
Yeah, we are doing it. We're not trying. We are. We just can't really talk about it because it's not ready to launch yet. So with that being said, thanks for joining in. If you're watching the recording, thanks for watching. Share it out. Share this video out. Get it across everywhere. Spread it. I really do think LANEMetrics is going to be a game changer for this trucking industry.
If we all do our part in sharing it, we can make that happen, and we can make the rates better a lot sooner.
Yep.
All right, take
Thanks
care.
for
Have
joining.
a good night, y'all.
All right. Thank you, guys. Have a good evening.
Be safe out there. And again, every Saturday, 4 o'clock Pacific, 5 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, 6 o'clock Central, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, every single Saturday. we do these lives. Truckers for truckers. Real talk by real drivers. Have a good night, guys.
Good night.
And Ignacio,
Good night.
Scott, stay in for a little bit so it uploads to your guys' accounts.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Have a good night.